Hello, mate.
Hello.
Long
What's
time,
up?
no see, few weeks. Yeah.
Yes.
I actually, it's like missed this. Like what we haven't done like 2 weeks, I think. I
Yeah.
reckon. Like something was missing. And funny, like we're doing it like what, 3 months less.
Yeah.
It's just like we get used to things so quickly. Eh? Like
Agree.
I know I'm talking to a guy on Sunday. It's like like it's like even there's like things in my head that I know I need to keep it inside so we can talk about it on Sunday.
Nice.
You know what I
Nice.
mean?
Well, it's not that I'm skipping talking about it. It's just there's issues that I talk with many people, and I
Yeah.
always want to hear your perspective. I like, what would Viko say about this? Some things I want to know only from you, and I don't consult with other people. Some things I consult with other people, and I want to hear your opinion. And just, the week is so busy, and and it's also when you consult in these sessions, sometimes it's very, even in other session, I feel like it's very, very useful to put it out there so other people can benefit from that as well.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah,
And it's like, it's not everything we say here is right, correct. Maybe it's correct for us for that
right.
moment. Next Sunday we can talk about the same subject. I learn something new.
Exactly.
And I changed my opinion, changed my view because, read this, heard this person, spoke with that person. So yeah, what I meant is like, it's not, again, like I'm talking about those topics. It's like in my head, I try to lock that in. I want to chat about it on Sunday. And sometimes it will come out, sometimes like on Monday it was important, then 6 days, to Sundays, and it's not important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started a new job.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's after 5 years, being in the same place with more or less the same people.
Exciting.
It's exciting. It's difficult. Like, it's not easy. Put aside new tech and new stuff to learn. That's always awesome. Always a bit, there's a lot to learn. It kind of can be overwhelming, but it's supposed to be like that, right? Okay. I kind of hope that it will be like that every time you change the job. That you will come in and it will be, everything will scare the shit out of you, right? In a way. It's good. It's different because I hired everyone to the engineering team, and I was part of the hiring the PMs and other people in the company. And here it's, you need to come in and you're in leadership role, but everybody else already, a lot of people, they're like, 3 years, 1 year. So you need to navigate that, right? And it's definitely different. The goal for me is the same. The goal for me is to make sure people are working together well. They both contributing as a team, individually. So the goals are exactly the same thing, right? Regardless the product. It's important for me that people individually and as a team feel comfortable.
But it's a bit more challenging when you didn't recruit those people. These are not your people.
Well, yeah, not only recruiting, it's like more challenging when you didn't set up the culture from the beginning. And it doesn't mean if the current culture is bad or good. It's not even in those terms. It's more just some things I would do that differently, right? Or you see something, that's actually a cool idea. It's working. And I probably could have worked in a previous company too. I wonder what, kind of led them to this conclusion. And then, so it's like a combination. You're like learning, you try to provide value. You're learning, trying to provide value. I'm not that person that, I never ask for permission. I just do shit. And good and bad, right? And like usually just, if people like it, they will follow. That means it's a good idea, right? It's, if they don't follow, right? I kind of try to do one-on-ones, encourage, hey, if you see I'm doing something that is not helpful, just tell me. Maybe I missed something. So, yeah, but I'm getting to know the team. So and I got lucky, I think, because people are great. Like literally everyone I spoke with so far, and I spoke with everyone. I actually started speaking with them even before I joined. Like I had like a week break, so I just kind of started, just do like a coffee chats. And actually, I think, put aside everything else, I think that's the best thing you can do. If when you start a new job, if you get the opportunity to meet people, just have a conversation, like on a video call, it doesn't have to be in person, 20 minutes, just a coffee, just an intro, one-on-one. It makes that new job, first day new job, makes that start so much easier. Mm-hmm. First of all, you don't feel it's your first day, so you're much more comfortable, right?
You already get to know.
Yeah, exactly. You jump in a meeting, it is gonna be fucking weird anyway, but it's less weird, right? And people are kind of a bit less weird around you because they already met you. So at least once. So yeah, I think if there's an opportunity to do that, I highly recommend. This is the first time I did it because it's all remote.
So what do you talk about in that introduction meeting?
Hey, I'm Viktor. I have 2 kids. I'm married and I live here, and I do this, and this. And that's it. Yeah. Like, how are you? Nice to meet you. Blah, blah. I'm excited to join in a bit. And,
you ask them about their life, like what they're doing, their interests?
Well, if you start from that, people will do that themselves. If they want to talk about more, sure, no worries. But I didn't start from work. I just kind of introduce myself. Yeah, my experience is this and this and this, like a little bit. But yeah, just try to keep it on a personal level. Yeah, listen, mate, we're lucky enough in our jobs that it's not necessary to separate, right? Don't have to separate my personal life and my work life. It's like, I don't hate my job. I need a separation.
Right.
It's sometimes I work extra hours just because I feel I need to, right? Because I enjoy it.
Right.
And I'm grateful that this is, where I am. So yeah, when I go and talk about, my personal life, the job, it's all kind of bit of a mix.
Mixed together.
Yeah, it is, right? It's at least for me, and I don't think it's bad. I actually think I'm grateful for that's where I am. That I don't feel like I spend like 9 or 8 or 10 hours of my day doing something I'm not enjoying, working with people I don't like. And I think if when we talk about privileges, I think that's what this one is privilege.
Right.
It's great. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So this is the intro. You start on a personal level. You mix, the professional level. When you do the one-on-ones, right?
Yeah.
How often do you do them? Like, what is the goal? What is the rule there? How much do you involve personal versus professional versus goals and goal settings and things like that?
So it depends on the person. I think once a fortnight, it's like if I'm direct manager, it's going to be once a fortnight, once a week. So I start once a fortnight right now. And also can introduce like engineering weeklies all together, but one-on-one once a fortnight. Where I start right now at this stage, the most important thing is for me so they can trust me, and that means I need to we have a conversation. I try to learn where they are right now, if there's something I can help, and if there's something I can help, it's very, very important to actually go and do it, follow up, to see if I can actually do something about it, and then follow up on that. And that's how you gain trust and keep it, whatever they tell you, keep it there, right? It's I make notes. Those notes are kind of safe with me, and then I will share conclusions with the leadership. Example of that, I hear from engineers, it's kind of our planning process is not, it's not as good as it can be. I think we should work on that, right? And I heard that from a few engineers. The leader, the names do not matter, right? Just kind of the fact that people raise that, and I can go and translate their concerns to something that the leadership can understand. Hey, if engineers don't think our deployment process or our planning process is not good and it's actually hurt productivity, you can quite easily translate that how it hurts the business. So engineers not necessarily will go there, right? Or like a person can say, hey, I don't like this, but if you hear it from multiple people, you can connect the dots, right? So when you're in a position where you're speaking to everyone, right, and you're making notes and you can analyze those notes, and that's what I do, like every week. Just go and just read the notes like every Friday. Just that's what I usually do. End of my week, just look at the notes for my one-on-ones, some other meetings, and put my notes myself. It's just if there's any action I need to take proactively, right? Just beside if I can see something that I missed while having this conversation. So I think one-on-ones is really, really important, and really important to get them. Like I start doing them again. Just those kind of intro calls, and then one-on-ones, I start doing them my first week right away. But also it's really important is to show your leadership what's the point, what's the purpose of those, right? Like I'm not just spending half an hour with each person, right? Kind of every fortnight just for the
Right.
fuck of it. So yeah, and I just gonna go over that, kind of share, just meet with my leadership like every week and show them, it's kind of what are we talking about, what the kind of the conclusion, kind of like a pulse of the team, where the team is at. So yeah, you don't have to share personal notes to explain that. Yeah.
So when you go to the leadership, right? Usually leadership has their own ecosystem of what needs to be done and how it needs to be done and just get it done. So how do you get leadership to pay attention to the aspects that they don't see, that you come back from those one-on-one and say, listen, this is something you need to pay attention to?
I translate that to something that they will understand. Like if it's something like very personal, like I see someone that have a problems at home, right? It's kind of things like that, and it's kind of, and they worry about something. I will just go, hey, we need to proactively help that person, right? It's kind of what let's do. We can do this, this, and this. And it's like a previous example. If I can identify something that is a group, some of the team members, they see there's an issue, right? And I can go and just translate that to the leadership. It's gonna be negative effect on delivery. It's gonna be negative effect on teamwork. Yeah. So,
but when you do a translation, it's assuming that you speak both languages.
well, you need to. If you're in a leadership position, I think you have to speak both languages. You have to speak tech and leadership and business. Like I don't think if you don't start,
this is a huge
put your fucking
problem.
heads down and start
Yeah,
studying.
exactly.
Yeah, you need to. You have to, and you also need to translate back.
Right.
It's kind of
Right.
if leadership comes in, hey guys, this is really important. We need to finish this quickly. And if you see engineers don't understand why, translate.
I think
Translation, I think it's big part of it.
this is a big part, right? And the bi-directional communication. Usually when I perceive it, okay, I have this group of people I need to take care of and I need to communicate with management their concerns. And I often forget that, besides, putting pressure on delivery, you also need to communicate, translate management to the developers. This is also a part that needs to be taken care of. I fully agree. It's a huge part.
And constant, by the way, not when things are bad or not when
Right.
there's pressure, right? I think like do some things like on a constant cadence, like every week you give updates on the business, even if it's a boring update.
I love it.
People they are in the loop. They're like, hey guys, something is coming in a month. We're doing this and this now. It's probably gonna be like don't know yet, but there's maybe a partnership that will come out of this. And we might have to be flexible with our stuff that we're gonna work on. Just expect a bit of a jump. Just kind of that we can jump between projects. It didn't happen. Okay, didn't happen. If it happened, it's not a surprise, right? They kind of, oh yeah, we remember we spoke about it. I think that's really important, and it doesn't cost you much.
It doesn't, but
three
you
words.
Sometimes you forget. Like I feel bad now that I've so many things I could have done now that you're saying it. Like, dude, what have you I've been in this specific role for a year now with pretty extensive group, pretty large group, and I missed some of those, and now I feel bad. Look at what you've done.
Yeah. So yeah, but I know it's valuable because I started doing that at previous company, like a driver. It's like nobody told me, hey, you need to do this. I just did it because no one fucking ever did it for me.
Right.
That's what was annoying.
Right.
Right. I hated those Slack messages or whatever. The best you can gonna get is on the group. Hey, we should all work on this now. What the fuck? I was building this for 2 months. What do you mean? I know, I'm get paid when you tell me what to, but what do you mean? It's something that we spoke about like from our first video. If people want to believe it or maybe they don't agree, but it's still a creative job. You're still creating something from nothing.
Agree.
You're still connected to it. Doesn't matter if you're using code or AI or fucking chisel. You're still creating something.
Right.
Just moving people from A to B. If you think just, that context switch, it's a small price to pay. No, it's not. And if you do it all the time to people, it's going to take a toll, even if they don't get it at that point, right? You're not just paying. The price is not just at that moment. Working consistently on a project from A to B, be able to finish, has huge benefit to
Right.
identify gaps in the code, in product. But, also don't live in La La Land. Understand sometimes you need to move between things. But that heads up, right, that you can put back in your head.
Right.
When it happens, it's helpful, to me at least. And I
I
find
know.
it's also helpful to the previous teams I led. If I things that I knew worked well, regardless of the environment you are, there's no reason for me not to try them again. They might look differently because different work culture, people may be different age, different product, whatever. But eventually the goal is the same.
Right. Interesting. When I think of my current position, right, I'm in a big corporation, right, enterprise, and I'm a tech lead. I'm not a managing director. So some of the people I manage, some of the people I manage in this group, they already have one-on-ones, but most of them, like I would say the majority of them, their management lack that attention or even care or even think that something like that should take place. But I'm not a direct manager. I'm a tech lead. So I've been given a group. I need to lead them tech-wise. So I do have conversations with them, when we're in a smaller, discussions. But then I can't really do the full one-on-one, or I can essentially say, screw it. I'm gonna, I know these people need that and they don't get it. So I'm not gonna ask anyone. I'm just gonna push it. And whatever the consequences may be.
How do you
And
do
I'm
it
not gonna make
in a
it fishy. Like
corporate?
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm inviting you to a one-on-one. I'm just gonna have that personal conversation in a specific session that we're working together to build a more human centric relation like you do. And it's, dude, that is the benefits are huge, and to think that
Yeah.
I've not done that up until now, that's crazy.
How do you do that in corporate, guy? Like I tried, and that fucking ended badly.
It's a different thing.
It's
It's a
yeah,
totally different beast.
but it's listen again, like, and
But humans are humans.
yeah, we're all people, but the environment we are is important, right? Like it's kind of we can say people all the same all over. Sure, we may be made the same, and we all need food, and but come on, the environment has huge impact how we behave.
It does, but I still think, like, I don't know what the consequences. Maybe the consequences will be different from a management perspective. But from downwards perspective, like, if
Yeah.
you do things like that, they will be accepted in a positive light, right? If you communicate with people, they like it, they enjoy it, they will perceive you, they will appreciate you. From a management perspective, they might say, "What the hell are you doing? Stop it." And I did many things in my years in this big corporate that people came up to me and say, "What are you doing?" Only for management, right?
Yeah.
From the developers, they always loved what I did and my communication. From a management perspective, I get a lot of pushbacks for the things that I try to push.
Yeah, I just went to to the founder like, hey, those are the things I want to start doing, and this is why. Like I will try bit by bit, and I'm just gonna get the sense. I'm gonna try to get the feedback from the team. But the one-on-ones again, the opportunity for me to try to identify early signs of something that if we need to change as an organization, and it's also a sense check if the team is healthy, like on the individual and as a team. But again, it's also I don't want to ignore that. Hey, you're taking half an hour from each engineer every fortnight, right? Like it's kind of, and it's from their time, it's your time. So I think it's important to show the value, right? And it's important to show the leadership. That's how I prepare for this, right? And I don't think I did it as good as I should have in previous jobs. Like it's kind of just to show the value of the one-on-one and just the kind of that building that personal relationship with people. I should have done better job out of that. More just kind of tell my manager, oh no, the benefits are just kind of reminded. It's like, should I build a dashboard from that? Fucking maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But I think it's also, we should
I'm making
think
notes
about
to do
managing
things.
up properly. I think that's also fair. Like, I think it's fair from our leadership to expect us to show them where we spend our time.
Right.
And I don't think when people I just do one-on-ones, it's important. cool, why? I think it's fair when they ask that question. I think we shouldn't wait for the question. We should just go and tell them those are the benefits and try to somehow to show them what you get out of this. If it's like a career growth, like interactive child, something, was working with this person and we grew from here to here, that's like where they are right now and that's how they contribute to the team. Something visual that can continue with that translation.
Right.
Because yes, if he's an engineer making $100 an hour and I'm taking half an hour of his time, and let's be honest, if I'm taking half an hour, I took an hour at least, right? So let's say I took an hour from here, I took an hour from me. It's 2 hours a week, right? So it's 2 hours a fortnight, 10 engineers. It very quickly, you put a dollar sign near it. Yeah, exactly right. Now, you need to be able to show that the company spent money. What did it get back?
Right.
In a very, kind of spreadsheet, ugly way. I'm not saying it's, but it's okay for them to look at this way and ask this question, right? Like you took that time from the engineer and you spent it on this. Now, again, obviously you're just going to say, I just want my engineers to work 9 to all day.
I would assume, based on what I know you, that you would not get into a job that this is the management. You would identify this type of management prehand, and you would not go there.
Yeah, I think every time we switch a job, it's always a gamble. And interviews, you selling yourself, they're selling their culture. So we all a little bit say what the other side wants to hear.
Yeah.
I try to make it to the minimum, but eventually we should all just admit we're all selling a little bit, which is okay. To make sure you fix that, right? It's just start doing shit on your day one, That's what I believe in. And not just go and say it, just do it. Actions.
Right.
Small actions.
When they see
Small
you
things.
deliver, that's what builds trust in management. You deliver
to everyone, right? I think so. Yeah. And it's like, yes, it's important to find out what's important to your manager, but it's also, I think, it's also important to try to agree what success for your role looks like from very first few days. Like should be part of your onboarding, right? It's kind of if what we told you, what we sold you, that role we sold you, and what you're doing now, kind of the first week,
right.
Does it look the same? It's with every engineer I hired at Driver, I did that. Like it's kind of after first week or usually after 2 weeks, we did like onboarding feedback. Just sat with half an hour and I sent like a few questions that I'm going to ask them, just kind of for them to have a look before. And I asked them from day one, hey, whatever you see is shit, just write on the side, please, right? And we discussed that and we can fix it. And then like it's kind of, you hire 15 engineers over years and 20, whatever the number is. So the 21 engineer, right, gets that onboarding process 20 times better than the first person. We actually got it better every time. If it's README files, hey, can we split those meetings into 2 weeks? It was too much. It was a bit overwhelming. And there's like people kind of complain about things that it's important to them. Others just I don't care about that, right? It's like some people, office more important to them. Some people, they want to see lots of documentation. And I just tell them, no. It's at some things, it's like, it's not going to happen just yet, and this is why, please change my mind, or just change the team's mind, but that's the reason we don't have this and this, or this is we heard that from some people now, it's good to hear from new team members that it's important. We're already working on it, and fucking work on it, right? Don't just say shit that you're not going to do. If you're not going to do it, just tell them. I think that's just one way of getting trust is to actually action on follow up, what you promise, and also saying, no, we're not going to do this for now, and explain why. There's nothing wrong with saying no.
That's, I spoke with you, I think, a couple of weeks ago regarding a situation that I had, and we discussed the need to go to management and say, okay, this is not going to be achievable. So let me consult you about a situation that I'm facing now. So we were given a scope due to lack of, I would say, proper communication between groups. I don't want to dive into the whole everything that went on there, because when this process started a year ago, I tried to push it. I got a pushback from other groups, and then we went into December and January, and they started waking up saying, oh my God, we need this. When we need this fast, we completely forgot. And I was like, I've been chasing you like a whole year. I literally chased people in the office that told me, I'm trying to avoid you. Leave me. And
Oh no, guys here, hide.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There was this UX designer. I was chasing her down. Listen, we have to get it done. We have to get it done. She told me, I'm trying to avoid you. It's not going to get done. And it didn't get it wasn't done because again, we were getting pushed, but now they woke up and we have to get it done fast. And the scope is huge and it to a degree unrealistic. Like we set up a Gantt chart, we set the timelines, and it's unrealistic. And some parts of management came in and said, we had meetings and they said, well, the timelines are not realistic, maybe we should push it back. And other management came in and said, there's no way to push it back. We have to get it done on time. It has to get done. So now I'm in the situation. We have a scope, somewhat unrealistic. I have to get it done. They're pouring money. They're saying recruit how many developers. I also want to talk with you about this recruitment process. Recruit how many developers that you need, get it done. So how would you address something like that? How would you approach? Now instead of time I need to focus on the project, I'm focusing the next 2 weeks to recruit people and to another 2 weeks to onboard them. And then, we need to, and that takes time, right? Recruiting and onboarding takes time. So instead of focusing on the project, we're now focusing on recruiting that management think that should have helped, but instead it's actually taking time off.
Well, recruiting and onboarding takes away from execution time.
Right, exactly. And they think we're pouring money and people onto this project, get it done on time, but that's actually taking time out of the execution.
Can you show them from when you recruit previously and onboarding that productivity dropped?
They know these people are well experienced people. These people are not dumb. On the contrary, these people are very smart people. They just we have to get it done. They have their external pressures.
Down on that. Yeah, it's pressure. I would try to break it down to small pieces as you can, the project. I would try to show, kind of create multiple timelines. This is the scope of what we have. If we're going to recruit and onboard, the time is going to be spent on that. It's, that's how it's going to be filled on. That's how that time is spent executing. That's how it's going to interfere the progress. If we're not going to recruit, it's going to same amount of people. That's what we can do. That's what we can achieve. So usually the only way to solve that is scoping the project as much as you can. So you can show if we're not recruiting, we're just focusing now on building this. And then once we build, if we recruit then, and is it possible to some of the project just kind of have the 80 or 75% of the project to do with the agreed timeline or meet the deadline, and then introduce the rest of the features, after. I would try to do that, just kind of negotiate, but do it visually. Yeah.
How visually?
I would just create multiple timelines, really. Just present that, it's kind of, those are same amount of work. If you're going to do it with 10 engineers that everyone has already know the code, we're just going to put our head down and focus. That's what we can achieve. If you're going to go and hire more people, 4 engineers going to be going to onboard, and the benefits of new people, we're going to fill them only 8 weeks, right, or 6 weeks. And we are very close to the deadline, right? So it's kind of, even if they will be onboarded, just create like a best case scenario, right? We hire in 2 weeks, we onboard in 2 weeks, right? So the new person is contributing after a month. People that were onboarding, the delivery was reduced by 50%, right? Now, you can say they can focus less on onboarding and focus more on delivering, but then again, eventually, like
something got
the less time you spend on onboarding, the more time it will take people to onboard. It's like, if you don't have time to onboard, then don't onboard. As simple as that, right? Just kind of, or can you also, like onboarding, it's not just, let's just do 8 hours of onboarding today. It's not going to work. It's not going to help, right? You need to let people just kind of, you show them, you need to go, let them debug, make mistakes, understand the product, and then onboard them again. It's kind of more or less kind of, you're showing A, you're showing B, and then C need to be maybe a combination of an A and B, right? It's just like you kind of have to repeat yourself a few times so it will actually, it takes time, but so it takes time of you, it takes time of them, and you also need them, you need time to let it sink in. I think 2 weeks onboarding, if you can onboard someone after 2 weeks, someone that outside of the organization, I think you should write a book on onboarding because it's very fast. Like usually it doesn't take 2 weeks, it's very quickly.
Well,
if you're onboarding, so it depends. Depends how decoupled the project is.
Right, agree. And usually, like in our environment, since we work on multiple time zones, sometimes a task that would take a normal, like open space office, a couple of hours, maybe a day, and when you work across time zone, it may take 3 days. Because once, I forgot this and that, now nobody's awake. You have to ping them. And now when they wake up, they have to manage it. And by the time you wake up, it's the communication. So now you wasted 2 days for a small task that in an open office environment, you would resolve that in 2 minutes. So this is kind of
So you need to present all that, right? It's kind of is that projects look different, right? Not some projects are very decoupled. Like now I had to do like quick POC on Stripe, right? Just kind of start working on pricing and for the company, like paywall and pricing. I don't know the system yet, but I can work on Stripe integration just decoupled, right? Like it doesn't matter. So no problem there. I don't need anyone for that. You just can go try and then just share. So some projects, no, you can't. Like you need to have multiple people. If you can split your projects in smaller pieces and then just do find
same rules to every problem you face, right? Break it down.
True. If you can, if possible,
make it manageable.
Yeah, if you can just throughout the project, if you can do, hey guys, for this project, sync between all of us is so important. I think every day we have that 1 hour of time zones. We're gonna all of us spend that time on code reviewing, making sure everything is clear, right? No one's fucking coding. No one is doing, kind of single contribution work. It's all about teamwork, and that's it. Like it's kind of that's your time. Kind of, hey, John and Emily, work on this. It's kind of, you need to figure out this. So I would try that, but it's, different projects have different problems, but it definitely presents a few different timelines to the leadership. Like we had that too. Like we had to deliver like a big insurance project and like integration. They want it fast. I think we talked about it. Like it's kind of, I didn't want to do it at all, but they offered to pay for the contractors. I said, if you want it faster, just pay for the contractors because I hope they will say no. They just said yes. Fuck me. Now I need to hire contractors. We did. One of them was okay. One of them I had to let go. But we didn't have time to hire someone new. So one of my guys just worked on weekends and just gave him days off after that, which I hate. I hate when people work on weekends. It's...
Sometimes there's no other option, right?
Yeah, there is. Just ask your engineers how long something will take to build.
Right.
Don't just pick a date in the calendar and that's it. Plan with them. So for your project as well, like it's gonna get the timeline from them as much as you can. How much? Put the timeline. Ask the engineers how long it will take you to deliver.
Right.
And why.
Right. So we've discussed a little bit about, coming into the new workspace, the excitements, the adrenaline, meeting new people. So talk about the challenges a bit.
Well, everything you just said is also the challenges.
The adrenaline and excitement is not a challenge.
But meeting new people, like it's it's coming out of a place you've been spending like a long time. It's very comfortable.
Right? You threw yourself out of the comfort zone.
Yeah, you open up. I think you have to open up.
Right.
It just won't happen. You have to. You're comfortable with it. You're not comfortable with it. Fucking deal with this. It is what it is. Just grow up and open up. Yeah. People respond to that.
So let's say, based on what you experienced so far, I would come in and ask you, Viko, would you advise it to me? Let's say I'm currently in a corporate office. Would you say, Guy, do the same thing as I did, right? Go ahead, look, take yourself out of this comfort zone. Let's say I'm in different situation, and go look for a position like I did. This is something that I would recommend to everyone, or it really, really depends.
I can only show the reasons why I did it.
Right.
What I thought it's a good idea, just come out of the comfort zone. I don't think I should give anyone advice, it's kind of, I do what I did. It's never. I can just share, I can just explain what were my reasons of doing something, right?
I highly disagree on the fact that you shouldn't give anyone advice.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of just, I can just share, like, what were my reasoning. And then, ask me in a year if it was a good idea or not.
Right.
Who the fuck knows? Right?
Exactly, right?
Like, when I told my dad, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why? You
have a good, steady job.
You like your team. It's kind of, what are you doing? So, no, I think...
High-stake gambling.
Yes and no. Like, come on, like, it's kind of still an industry that pays well, and what the worst can happen? I'm going to work as an engineer and going to make a good salary as an engineer. I think it is a bit of gambling, because you have to go and you start a new place, and again, everything we just said, like, you meet new people, and you need to build all that trust from zero, right? So scary. Yeah. Something's not going to work as you hope. So yeah, the whole thing might just not going to work, and you're going to have to look for another job. It happens. So what is, if because it's risky you shouldn't do it? No. Like, I don't think so. So it really depends who you are. I think also need to be responsible, like, just kind of be very, very realistic, right? My wife works and she makes good money.
Yeah.
We have savings, so I can afford to take the risk, right? Or
exactly.
Like, it's kind of, and it depends on the risk. That's what I said. It's not that just I quit my job and said, hey, I'm just gonna go, start my career of taking photos of ants on a sand and see how Instagram will go for me. Just it's kind of whatever, something entirely new, which is also fine. So, no, I have 2 kids, I have a mortgage, I have responsibilities, and I don't have that fuck you money. So need to balance.
Yeah.
It's
yes. You don't have that, yet.
Maybe we'll have it, maybe I won't. But it's like, but that's the difference. But it shouldn't stop us from try to go and be better. Or I feel like I did something good. I need to go and try to do it again, better.
Right.
And that's it. And that works for me.
Right.
There's a huge benefit of, kind of reinforcing what you're good at again or again. Yeah, it's like, again, I think we spoke about it. It's like kind of in leadership when you're growing, and you just need to grow the head count of how many people you lead. But every time you do it, it's those are different problems you need to solve.
Right, exactly.
You don't get to reinforce the skill of, lead 10 people, 12 people. You jump in 10, 15, 50, 100. Okay, it's very different. It's a different job. It's not necessarily you jump to manage 100 people because you were very good at managing 25. So, or maybe you were, I don't know. From my experience, a lot of people that managing large amounts of people and they didn't spend enough time spending small groups of people, leading small groups. They're not very good at that.
Right.
At least from my experience. The only problem here, it's time. It takes time, right?
Right, exactly.
So, but again, I'm not suffering. I like my job. I like what I do. So I don't see that as a problem. And maybe that's my sweet spot. But how the fuck I know if I won't try? Like, it's impossible to know.
Right,
so,
right.
Yes, take risks, I think.
Calculated risk.
Yeah, exactly. Calculated risk. Like, I think we owe it to ourselves a little bit. That's my opinion.
Agree.
But, yeah.
Agree.
So for you, like, it's kind of calculate.
The question is. Yeah, exactly. Is it a calculated risk? I agree. Okay, so let me ask you this. This is another issue that I wanted to discuss because, like I said, we were recruiting, and we got this resume. And the reason I'm asking you is because people said something to me, which they said it before, and now they said it again, and I was like, wait, am I this? So I wanted to speak to you about it. So I interviewed, we got a very impressive resume of someone who is supposedly a senior developer with a lot of experience. Very impressive resume. we went into the interview and he didn't know like basic things. I'm not talking about, senior level, not even mid-level. He lacked the knowledge of junior in the some of the like tech that he reflected in his resume. Like,
Okay.
technical capabilities that he reflected in the resume. So up until a point, I just said, this to myself, right? This doesn't make sense. Like, we're asking them basic questions and they're unable to answer. So I just said, well, thank you. I don't have any more questions. I appreciate your time, and bye-bye. We parted. And after that, my co-interviewer said, it's rude. You should have spent the full time with them. And he wasn't the first that said that. There was another situation where I cut an interview because there was just no alignment whatsoever between what we were looking for and what they represented. And I cut the interview short, and someone else said to me, that was very rude. So this is the second time that this is happening to me. And I was like, I remember when I was in these situations where someone invited me for an interview, and at the very first minutes, it was clear that something is not right and we're not aligned, but they dragged the interview through the whole process. It was like torture. Through the whole process, I wished that someone would tell me, okay, this doesn't work out, thank you very much for coming, and I would go without being rude, because if you're an interviewee and you're doing that is not acceptable. But as an interviewer, I think it's acceptable that you would say, thank you very much, very appreciate your time, bye-bye. Not something that an interviewee might be able to do. So I was flagged as being rude by two people now, for not in a short time, of course, but on a couple of years, I've been flagged as being rude for cutting those kind of interviews short before their time is done. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, okay. A few things here. I think it's on a personal level. I would rather, people just tell me, "Hey, it's not going where it's supposed to go. Let me just explain to you why." Right? That's what I would do as well. I would just I would use a bit of that time instead of just torturing someone. I just explain to them, it's, just by your answers, I don't think we are going to the right direction. I would answer this, and this. If you want to try again in the future, maybe you can work on those things. Let's regroup whenever you think you're ready, if we have another role. I don't think there's anything bad with this. I think you're saving time. I think you're providing feedback and directly. Will that person, it's gonna feel like shit? Yes, they're gonna feel like shit if you're gonna send that email anyway. Until now, they know what they can do to improve. It's also like sometimes there's a misalignment. You can be a great engineer, but I'm looking for different skills. It's okay. It's okay for me just to identify that early. I'm actually doing you a favor. Right? So I think the way you message this is really important. If you just told someone, hey, all your answers were shit.
No.
I know you didn't. Yeah, I know you didn't. So I'm just gonna say
we're not animals. God
exactly.
forbid.
So if you just if you just cut the interview short, hey, we're not going where we,
I didn't even say that. I said, well, I don't have any more questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I don't know how. I never interviewed in American, kind of culture. So I don't know, but I would rather just go and explain. Hey, I want to stop the official interview process now, right? Because some of the answers probably not going to lead us to a successful outcome. And I want to spend the time on talking, discuss those things. Would you like to do that? I did it twice. Mm-hmm. Those people appreciate, they send me an email, thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. Now, once we got like a home assignment from someone, we didn't like it very much, and we just told them no, thank you. And then they asked for like more clear feedback. We gave them just kind of this line. And they came back to us like, oh, it's not fair, like you should just let me, kind of fix the code. With some people, just we told, yeah, just open the PR, right? And those are the things we identify that we think we can do better. Can you fix? They open the PR and we say, oh yeah, okay, maybe just we didn't communicate the problem correctly or just didn't have time. So that's great. But from the way that person responded, right? It's very attacking, and instead of just, hey, Viko, can we just have a phone call, right? And just have a normal conversation, just back and forth, like 4 or 5 emails. It showed me it's not the right character for us.
Right.
But the first interview was great. I think we just kind of offended him by just telling him no without explaining too much. We just showed him we didn't like this, we didn't like this, we didn't like this, and that's it. And I think he just got offended a little bit, which is fair. It's maybe I should have offered, instead of emails back and forth, let's jump on a call, right? And we can go over it, right? We can have a bit of a
I like that about
discussion. Yeah, but it's like I also try to protect my engineers' time, right? We try to interview like a few of those a week. Expensive.
Yes.
It's I think the way you message it is really important. I don't think it's rude. I think it's worth taking a bit of more time to over explain, but also you should just expect that it's not always gonna go.
Right.
People can react in a very different way to that.
Exactly.
But also, like, culturally in US, is it just everyone smile and then just send you that email, or don't send you anything? They're just gonna do the rest of the interview, because you remember how it in Israel. Oh, this is shit, mate. It's kind of
Right.
Yeah.
But Israel
direct.
is like what, 6 million people, 8 million people
now.
here. What? It's 9 million?
I think
How many?
it's 10 now.
10? Here in the US, it's like 350, something like that, 340 million.
I think you guys have 300 million.
No,
sorry
300.
for correcting the math today. Israel population, one sec. It's close to 10 million. No,
Okay.
it was 2025.
And the US, 340, 250?
So Israel is 10, about 10. It's like 9,500,000. And US, well, 2025 just started. US is 347 million.
47. So it's a different scale. So it's very
true.
hard to generalize and this kind of scale of population. So every time you meet someone new. But I agree, there is a culture. There is a culture difference that does apply to the US in general. I agree.
Yeah.
So
What bothers you? Bothers you that someone told you were rude, or?
yeah, I wanted to get a feedback, because when someone flags you as being rude, especially I don't like being rude, right? We want to be humans. We don't want to be animals. So if I offended anyone, this bothers me. So I want to, I always want to evolve and fix myself and change. So if someone highlights a problem with me, I want to evaluate if this is a real problem, or is this just something that this person sees and it's not something I'm concerned about.
I think there's a difference between if the interviewer were offended by you cutting the interview, or someone that was with you on the interview thinks that person was offended.
But in both situations, the first situation that was highlighted. I told someone that I cut the interview. He wasn't a part of the interview. I told him that I cut the interview short. He said, that's very rude. Never do that. You have to complete the interview. So they weren't even a part of the interview. I just told them. In this second instance, they were a part of the interview, but the only thing that they highlighted is that I didn't complete the full hour of the interview. They didn't highlight any behavioral situation that I did.
It sounds to me more like just a cultural thing. Like it's kind of, hey, we always do the full hour. That's our company culture. I think sometimes companies don't think about it this way, but interviews are a big part of your reputation of your company out there. And maybe just something that you're not across. Like it's kind of, hey guys, we should always do 1 hour interview. Doesn't matter if you kind of happy or not happy. I would try just kind of find out from other people that interview if they always do 1 hour. Yeah, maybe just a culture thing. When we did like in-person interviews, like 3 people in the room, myself, team lead, product manager, that's how we did like technical design part. We sit with laptops, we're taking notes, and obviously there's Slack, and we just message each other, right? And it's like sometimes just, okay, we got what we need. He's great. Let's just move on. Let's open up to more questions from that person, right? It's kind of like just I want to hear from them more, right? So we don't need the full hour and a half like we want. It's good, right?
Right.
So you can cut interview short. Not only is it from kind of as bad, it can also be positive. But there's no need for us to sit here hour and a half. I want to hire you, right?
Right.
So I think just find out what's the organization like.
Agree.
That's all. And you're part of organization, and you're not the head of an organization. So the chances of you changing that organization, let's be real, the culture are very slim. Adapt.
Right.
Just do the full hour. Nothing wrong with that. You're not giving up. Sometimes people.
If you
Yeah, it's kind of like, exactly, right? And is it that hard to adapt? I'm just like, it's, talking like in generally, right?
It's
Again,
not.
like reflecting on some of my mistakes I did when I worked in that, large organization, I could have done better job adapting. Like, there's no doubt, right? I can give you a list of excuses why I didn't, but those are going to be because I want to feel better about myself, right? I could have done a better job.
Right, right.
I just didn't want to. Like, I just kind of felt I'm not gonna fight to make myself better fitted for this culture.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna, I decided to fight the existing culture, which I knew I'm gonna lose. I didn't expect to win. Of course not. Why would I? And why the fucking that CTO of that place would? It has like 150 engineers. He shouldn't give a fuck what I say. Come on. Yeah. I just give him a headache. So all good there. It's so if you whatever your reasons are to stay in that place, right? Just choose the things you want to fight for, I guess, right? And if their cultures interview for an hour, even if after 10 minutes you think that's going to be a no, but it's really, really important for the organization to do the full hour because those people go and then put reviews on the interview, and that will have impact on the score
I see.
in some backdoor, or whatever, the glass door.
I see.
Like try to understand the motivation behind, that 1 hour. If it's a culture, company culture, maybe it's something like, in the American culture you're just not aware of just yet.
So
I don't know. Yeah.
one of the reasons why I would cut this interview short, and I told that to the interviewer, is that the minute you figure out that the interview is not going well, and this was an online interview, I noticed this as a pattern that the recruiters, the ones that send us those resumes, they go and ask the interviewees what happened. What did they ask you? Tell us. And they immediately pick up the phone and call the others and say,
Yep, to
prepare on that and this and that. The less you reveal, the more you are able to test the other one. And the more you reveal, the less the next time you're on a call, he already knows, this is easy. Let me give you the answer. But it's not really smart because you prepared. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to cut the interview short, because I saw that we were revealing things that, and of course it did happen. The next day I interviewed 2 people, and they of course fluently knew the answer to some of those questions.
Do you ask the same questions like on the interview?
To a degree. Something that surprises my candidates, and it always surprises them, is that sometimes I ask questions and I tell them, please, if you have a browser, open Google. If you have ChatGPT, open ChatGPT, consult with them and come back to me.
Yeah,
Tell me what they said and explain that to me.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I've asked them, okay, so you have this. You need an analytics. She said she worked as a BI. So I said, okay, so you worked and you're doing analytics. So which database would I choose? Would I choose a columnar database, a SQL database, a Mongo database, a document database? Which database should I choose? And she didn't know. So it's kind of a basic question. So I told her, and she's like 11 years of experience, so you would expect. But I told her, okay, open up a browser, do some research. I'm going to give you 10 minutes, do the research, come back to me, tell me how you understood. So I'm not expecting you to know this by heart, but I'm expecting you to be able to do the research and come back and explain. And I see after, by the way, doing research and coming back is also something that we need to test in interviews, which we don't do today, sadly. I think a lot of interviews don't do that. So when they come back and they're able to read and explain what they read and see how they understood what they read and communicated that, this is a very important part. And again, you can immediately see if someone who is well versed in their domain and they just needed that part which they don't know by heart and they can complete it by Googling or reading or consulting with ChatGPT, versus someone who's just don't really understand their domain and just fill up that resume. And consulting with ChatGPT and Google will not help you if you don't know what you're doing. That's my take on it.
I think regarding the recruiters getting annoyed by that, will just make you're just gonna be annoyed. Like it's kind of their job is to close the deal.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. Like
Their livelihood depends on that.
Yeah, exactly. If I was a recruiter, I would fucking invest in a company that creates tiny microphones, put in your ear, and kind of wear glasses with a camera, and pay other engineers in other country to give you answers on the fly, so you can close the deal.
I think something similar to that is happening today. I'm not
AI and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, so I think I would spend less time being annoyed by that. I would just kind of spend more time on finding out what is the best way for you to find out in that 1 hour, 2 hours, how much time you have, if that person will be successful in the role, and also tell them about the role as much as you can. Right. I usually build my questions based on, I ask the person, why are you looking for a job right now?
So wait. Let's start from
no problem.
Heads up. So someone sends you the resume. You now need to build an interview. Yeah. What is your process? You got the resume.
Yeah. Okay. So I got the resume. I will look at some of the try and say what they did, what the project they did. We'll prepare some questions. Not necessarily always will be technical. Yeah. Like I will just try and understand. Okay. So then I will ask how many people you work with in a team on that project. What did you do? Tell me about something that interesting. Tell me about any issues. The more you let people talk, the more it's how to prepare for that. Right? Unless they did lots of interviews. You can say something, it happened to us similarly, that's what we did, So you can just get it, take it out from them to you and present a question from that. For example, so how did you guys build that payment system? Oh, we use Stripe. Cool, we use Stripe too. And we had a problem with, the webhooks. How would you solve this? 2 things. You will find out very quickly, did they actually work on that? In case they bullshit you, right? If they did, that gives you already indication where you need to take it. If they know the answer, but then it's you asking them about a bit of your system. So it really depends on type of question, but it's like the conversation back and forth. So I will prepare this way. You need to be also as an interviewer, you need to be really good on your feet. It's you need to be fresh and ready, right? You need to, you know what I mean?
Here's the problem with those questions today, and I noticed that today in an online settings, not in an on-site settings, that is the easiest part. In an on-site
online
setting,
is harder.
Yeah. Online they can easily, let's say, bullshit their way into those answers with several methods. And it's very hard to find a way to bypass this kind of, plagiarism in an online setting.
Let's say they plagiarized. Let's say the interview they scored 10 out of 10 everywhere, right? And then they start working. How long it's going to take you to figure out their bullshit?
It's a problem in an enterprise, because in an enterprise, once they're in, it's very hard to kick them out.
There's no probation period at all?
No. So someone came in, I hired someone back in 2019, and after a few months, it didn't went well. So I wanted to fire him, and it took, that was a hard procedure. That was a tedious, hard procedure to get someone laid off. And I had a full backup. My manager backed me up fully, 100%. I don't want to even imagine where you try to do that when you are in a situation where you don't have full backup. I had a full backup from my manager on this, and it still was a very, very hard and tedious process.
If you don't have, then you need to spend more time on interviews for sure, multiple steps, multiple people. You need to make sure. Again, every time we interview, as we change jobs, I think it's a gamble. When you hire new people, it's a gamble.
Right.
I think online today, interviews online with AI, it's very difficult. I think what you do use the tools. It's great. It's because people, don't use AI. Why not? You're going to use it on your day-to-day job.
Exactly.
If you're not going to use any of the AI tools, what the fuck? There's a question that I like to ask people. It's usually on-site, but we also ask that online when we couldn't do on-site. I asked engineers, give me an example of product that you like, and then let's build it together. How would you build this, right? And then you can just dig in, it's one.
Give me an example for a
So
response.
one guy told me, I just like car simulation gaming, right? It's kind of, and then we kind of start talking about like fucking deep into algorithm, how you're gonna stimulate this, like it's how hard it is, right? To build.
Right.
It's kind of someone told me like he likes like social media, right? Like it's kind of like Instagram, like that's the, okay, how would you build Instagram feed, right? So we just start talking about that, and give me an example, like how would you design database, of the feed, like it's kind of, so it's how to prepare for those questions, right? And for the interview, for the recruiter, if he's going to tell someone, hey, pick something that they liked, right? And then come back. Then when guy asks you, just be ready for that question, bring something that you can explain, you can still take it apart, right? Because they have no idea which direction you're going to take it.
Right.
If you're going to take it to the database, if you're going to take it to, okay, let's discuss, like you mentioned, Amazon, right? What I like about Amazon is their, suggestions filter, right? Let's talk about how we're going to build that. Like it's kind of, first, what you're going to use React, you're going to use this. So it's almost impossible to prepare for this because they have no idea where you're going to take it.
Right.
So I like to use that. And with recruiters, and just with every interview, I actually send them what we're going to talk about. Like I send them the types of questions we're going to ask with examples because I want them to succeed. I don't want to fucking interview for the next 3 months. I want to find someone good. And I want them to come prepared. I want to use that time as much as we can. So I try to keep the interviews very, very positive. And someone actually told me, like, you're too nice on the interviews.
Yeah, that I was told that.
So what? I'm still getting what I need, right? It's kind of what you need me to be tough. I'm a fucking sergeant in a course like in an army.
If you're sending someone, like in many cultures, that is fine, right? People would see and they would come in and they would be ready. But in some cultures, people, when you send them the context and the full questions list, they would optimize for that, right? Like you might have, like, people optimize, right, for code lead, all these data structure and algorithms, and they come in and they ace the data structure and algorithms, and on the first day on the job, they don't know how to, set up a variable and code, the basic things that you require for them. So when some people, if you would tell them, okay, this is what we're asking, they would optimize for that, and they might ace the interview.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get a horrible employee. And again, it's not in all cultures, but some cultures are like that.
I'm so surprised by hearing about that in US because I always kind of, to me, it's just in my head. Oh, in US probably so much easier to fire someone that is not contributing to the business.
It really depends. It really depends on the environment.
Yeah, interesting.
I had a manager.
Then you need to hire based on the it's like everything, right? It's a risk. If when you make any decision of hiring someone, it's going to be, if you made a mistake, right? And let's be honest here, when we hire someone that is not a good fit, it's our mistake.
Right.
If they did a good job,
and it's costly.
If they did a good job to fool us, it's still our mistake.
Right.
Like, good on them, but it's our fuck up.
Right.
So, and if you don't have an easy way to correct the fuck up, then you need to spend much more time on preparing for the interviews. And you need to get a clear rubric what success looks like and get more people into the interview. So it's going to be not only, share the blame, it's just kind of for more people to look at the person and, just kind of, okay, if we're going to interview, when we hire, we need at least 3 people to all agree that, we like this person, right? Just to make sure we don't miss anything.
Right.
Even if it's easier to fire, I still think you should do as much as you can to make sure that you hire the right person, because there's an impact on the team when you hire and fire quickly. But there's also if you hire someone bad, right, you made that mistake, and you let them stay in, the impact on the team is
much worse,
right? So, and I made that mistake too. I had people that I should have fired way faster. Was they toxic? No, they just didn't deliver as they should have, and it has impact. So yeah, mate, it's always people leadership. It's the hardest thing ever. It's in every aspect, right? Kind of making sure
it's not. I wouldn't call it the hardest thing ever. It's just a challenge,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's one of the hardest things. Like for me, always was not dealing with people, just creating the environment when everyone more or less happy with the day to day, with all the factors, that outside factors, all the moving parts. I think it's one of the hardest things. It's much easier just to go and build shit and code. Like when I start leading, it's like all the issues I had to resolve by myself just became so tiny. Like for me, it's kind of like then it's kind of I solved this recursion. I'm a fucking god. It's kind of, and then you have two people in a conflict, and you need to find a way to resolve that. 50 times harder.
There's no there's no playbook to
No,
these kind of problems.
of course not. Exactly. There's none. Yeah, it's kind of, so yeah. And when I consult ChatGPT on leadership, I was like, oh, fuck you. It's like, I'm not doing this. Yeah, it's.
I remember.
You scanned the wrong website.
I remember I saw many years ago there was a movie about two Australian hackers, very young. They hacked NASA. They hacked back in the 80s, I think it was, or early 90s. Very talented hackers back in the days where you can, go online with your phone and go into the web back then was a big open communication, and you can essentially, easily hack everyone.
No HTTPS.
Yeah, exactly. And they hacked NASA, and they hacked a lot of government agencies. After his mom died, he had a mental breakdown. I think, if I recall correctly, his mom died or something like that, or his dad, and he had a mental breakdown. One of the things that he said that caused that mental breakdown is that he said, when I'm in front of the computer, everything makes sense. Like, I know that, if I add 1 to 1, that's going to be 2, there is logic, there's conclusion, there is a mathematical flow to everything. But suddenly in the real world, it's different. It's not like that. And I couldn't handle it, and he had a mental breakdown. Yeah, and to the most part, computers are very predictable, except maybe from now, deep learning, that's my son, deep learning and things like that, we get results that we don't fully understand. But to the most part, computers, engineering, it's very predictable. You know your input in, your input out. Humans are not like that. The world is very chaotic, and it's a far more challenging.
That's always like, again, to me, it's always about people, the issues you're going to have in a company, when things are not. You can have two groups executing on the same idea and
Completely different results.
Different speed. And same timeline, right? I remember when Driver started, we had a company started close, very similar time to us. You should look at your competitors, right? I actually always I'm glad you have competitors, because if you don't have, fuck, is it just, am I a genius or I'm a fucking idiot? Spending time on this. Most of the time, you're not a genius, so it's and it felt like we probably made some right choices around people. I don't know them, it's when I saw the founders in LinkedIn or others of that company. Nice guys, like it's solving the same problem we are. But it felt like we're doing a better job, like just by as the company grew, like we got, big partners and stuff. Probably because the people that the founders hired just work well together and didn't have much bullshit. I don't know about their culture, I have no idea. It's like, I knew their engineering wasn't in Australia much, and their CTO left, I think, early days. Again, I don't know too much, didn't care much, but I think our engineering was very consistent. Pretty much most of the people stayed for years, and product too helped. Again, same, we solve exactly the same problem, like pure competition, right? We took a bit of a more tech approach, I think, than them. They took a bit more sales approach, and some partners I think they got because of that. Some partners we got because we chose more product approach, right? And could you do both? Maybe. You just choose what you're good at. But
I mean, there's only.
That was the difference, mate. Just to finish my point. I think that was the main difference.
Yeah.
It's not about them bad at what they do. I think every person that starts a company and just goes and builds something and get customers, get that first fucking dollar is hard. You know, going from zero to one, it's very, very difficult. It's crazy difficult. Like people sometimes don't understand how fucking difficult that is to build something and get someone to put their fucking credit card in your website. That's hard.
That is.
Every time people they build something, it's bullshit. You fucking go and try to do that. You convince people to go and join you and work for you. It's hard. It's really difficult.
Hard.
And
earning like the first, $10, earning the first amount, that is, mountain. People don't understand how
can
hard
be years for the first dollar to come in. Years, right?
Yeah.
Now, so to me, and they also made money, right? It's kind of, I think, in my view, we probably just maybe did a better job at getting the right people or correcting mistakes when we didn't faster and better. We just there's a bit of a luck there too. It's kind of got lucky that, they interviewed me, I interviewed them, and things kind of picked up quite nicely, and we just, no bullshit, no politics, we could just focus on execution. So, yeah, it's could have gone the other way, like this, right? Very quickly. Does it mean that me and one of the co-founders didn't have, conflicts and hard calls? Of course we did, and sometimes I was wrong, sometimes he's like, doesn't matter, we could just continue, without no issues. Yeah, so it's all people. It's all about people. And the more I lead, the more I get the opportunity to meet new people, the more I understand how important that is.
Yeah.
Just to be very, to find the right approach with the people you have. And that communication is words matter. How you message things matter the most. People that say, messaging is not important. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, treat people normally. Nothing else matters. Like, again, and you see companies in China do what they call it, 996, from 9 to 9, 6 days a week.
Yeah,
they do chat. I don't know.
I don't know how, there are certain things that you can get away with for maybe even extended period of time, but you cannot get away with bad things in the long run, I think.
Yeah.
I don't
agree.
I agree. That's personal.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a constant, and you see like CEOs online just go, fuck this. The more you can get out of your people, the better.
Yeah.
Right? It's you pay them for them time, you come into work, we pay you, you're not happy, go fuck yourself, you're gonna get someone else. We're all grown ups, you're not happy, go work someone else. No problem. Right. In my place we work from 9 to 9 and we're gonna pay you big time, right? Or maybe not. I think it's all about the market. It's like, if people can get away with that, they probably will continue, right? If you cannot find good employees with that approach and you have to change to attract and keep good people, you will change. So I think it's as simple as that, right? It's like that kind of back to the working from office or working from home. If the market is changing and the companies need more people and they see and people can see that and say, nope, I'm not going to be coming to the office. Like I'm going to looking for a remote job and I'm willing to get a salary cut for that. And it's a movement. A lot of people do that in the company. Okay, we have 50 spots. We can't find people, right? Because all the feedback we get, I'm not commuting 5 days a week. No, I have a job offer with 3. I'm going to take that, even with less money.
Right.
So they're either going to say, we're going to pay way more, right? But then the question is, okay, so you're going to pay 50K more a year or your competition just to bring those people back to the office. Are you going to get more value out of those people for like 50K more for each person, right? Now your competition is paying less. Right. So they're spending less money, right? And they're executing on, let's say they're all right. Let's say we're doing less from home than in the office, which I still think it's bullshit. But let's say that's the reality, right? Is it that by that much, money for like execution, right? For value. So I think it's all about the market, and that's the beauty in, kind of in open market. It's just leave it alone. It's kind of never, Elon Musk wants all the government employees back in office. Okay, you don't have to work there. Lots of startups and companies hire remote because they don't want to spend money on offices. go work there.
Right.
You don't have to. It's like everyone just send that email. It's like how horrible, how difficult it is just to answer an email and say, what did you do in your last week? But nobody's going to read it. Okay, sure. Doesn't matter. Is it difficult for you to answer that email?
I think...
It's fucking, yeah. Sorry. Just annoyed by that. I just had an argument with someone that was very annoyed, but how can you just send that email? Nobody's going to read it. It doesn't matter. They have no context on my job.
I remember...
Just answer the email.
Back in 2000... What was that? 2017, I met someone who was a government employee. He was a scientist in the government. And I told him that, I'm having troubles with one of my managers.
You were in the US already, right?
Yes, I was in the US. I think it was 2019 maybe.
Okay.
So I'm having issues with one of my managers, and things are not going well. And he told me, scream at him. I said, what? He said, yeah, scream at him. Throw a chair at him. I said, you don't do that. Like, he can lay me, he can fire me in a snap. And then he told me, yeah, that's what I do. And he told me instances where he essentially, he humiliated his boss in front of people and he did horrible things. And I said, they didn't fire you? He said, well, they can fire me because, I'm a government employee. So some of these people were getting used to be entitled in a manner that they're separated, right? There's the private sectors and the government sector. And the government sector used to be in a situation where we're untouchable. Nobody can touch us. And suddenly someone sends them an email, tell us what you did. What do you mean tell us what you did? Like, you can touch me. I'm untouchable. And that brings a lot of frustration to them. Like, they don't fully understand the rules of, the private, the business.
Marketing, yeah.
Yeah. They don't understand that.
Accountability, right? It's like, for me, it's like, if you remove the pressure, right, it's kind of that the business I'm working for will never be, will never go down. It's like, okay, amazing. We have time to do very cool things. Maybe, right? We have time. Like, it's kind of
right,
because it's always time, right? It always come back. Oh, we don't have enough time to write unit tests because we need to finish this because we need to test, right?
Right.
And it's like, so suddenly you can just go and build things, right? You have a bit more time. You have, but it never, in reality, right? It never happens. In reality, you will see a lot of the time government projects. They do 5 years. They work on something 5 years. They get $2 million a year for 3 people working on something, and they do 7 deployments. And that's it. Some shit like that.
They don't have to answer to anyone. Let me give you an example. They passed that bill, infrastructure bill, right?
Yeah.
Trillions of dollars they spent on that infrastructure build. And I knew, huge parts of that bill is going to be given to some contractor for doing things that nobody needed. Maybe parts of it are needed, but parts of it were not. So let me give you a quick example. Here we have a street, right? When they started the infrastructure bill, about a year or two after, they completely demolished the street, even though it was fine. The street was fine. They completely demolished and rebuilt the road. That was 2 years ago, I think, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. They brought in the tractors now to demolish that road and rebuild it again. The same exact road. There's no one reviewing that and saying, wait, what? Why are we doing that? And the road is completely new. You go to the road, it's brand new.
But it's creating jobs. It's running the economy. Those contractors get paid. They have employees. They spend petrol and diesel and blah 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 blah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of like things are moving. I saw just on YouTube. I saw some Aussie politicians from their position sitting in Parliament and asking questions, and then they can ask the YouTube was revealed $20,000 desk sitting in Parliament House storage, and I was like, how do I get government to be my customers, to build desks for them for $20,000? I don't want it to sit in a storage. I want them to use it, but $20,000 desk for one person.
Yeah, that's how it goes. We all know the story.
Yeah, and it's and then obviously in the video, she okay, how about this? Okay, so you spent how much money on standing desk? And it's all to me, again, it's kind of naturally, right? like it's kind of when I looked at that video, I was like, at first in my head, I was supposed to get annoyed, like, what the fuck you use my taxes for? What the, but it's kind of, how do I get them as a customer? But then no, like it's bad. It's like kind of for a minute there, it's like
There's
so
no fix. It's been like that since
dodge, I guess, but I don't know. We'll see. If he's
since
gonna
the.
fix it. Yeah,
I don't know
it's
if
been like that since ever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll see if Dodge will be able to
Yeah,
fix
like
it.
I always kind of think like the only way to fix it is people shouldn't stay and work for the government like on one
Yeah.
side,
Yeah,
it's kind of for
yeah,
more than X amount of time, right?
Exactly. Term limit shouldn't be only for presidents.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, but also like we just said, hey, there's lots of benefits of staying, in a place and just kind of seeing a project from A to B. So there's a bit of a conflict here. So I think if someone kind of stays in the same role for more like like 5 years, 10 years, not only as a politician, like as a government employee, it should go through lots of scrutiny.
Right. Exactly.
It's because it's like
Nobody's
just kind of example,
over
just
that.
that example as I just gave you, right? Like, hey, I wanted to build a desk for $20,000 for government.
Right.
It's because they're just people, and I get them, right? You go walk there, very quickly. Hey, nobody fucking checks what I do. I can go for days and doing
Exactly.
fuck all,
Right. Exactly.
and now you can just do it for years and years, and it's impossible to fire you. So you just, kind of pushing the limit a little bit more and more and more. So
Until you end up doing nothing, not coming to work.
people, and right now I'm gonna say, there's no way I'm gonna be working that environment, right? I don't know. I never worked in that environment. I have no idea.
Right.
Would I want to say I wouldn't stay? I would push for things, but then you're gonna work in that environment, and then if you're gonna start doing more, people are gonna look, hey, what the fuck are you doing? You're making us look bad. Are you kidding me? So and then you're like,
Stop producing, please.
it's just kind of no. We all finish at 4, and then we jump on a very important call from 4 to 5, right? But you're not gonna be one of us. We're gonna fuck you up. We're going to make your life miserable.
Right.
I'm sure that's a true story. I have no doubt.
100.
So
When
yeah.
I was in Israel, we wanted back in 2000. I think it was 2000. Forgot what year. 2020. What was we thought about making a startup. You know that in Israel there's huge lines to test your car. Every time you go to test your car,
every year,
lines. We said that doesn't make sense. We're technology. There's internet now. There's technology. You can set appointment, and we started discussion right with the government, with the car garages to bring that into fruition. And what happened? What we found out was that nobody wanted to move that because it's not profitable for them. Like nobody wanted to make it efficient. Nobody wanted to make that process efficient because efficiency would hurt their bottom line, and they just said, "We're not going to do that." Sorry.
How would that? I'm just kind of. First of all, yeah, it happens a lot. But second is, how would that hurt their bottom line? Like if they won't have a long line of people standing.
They said they had plenty of arguments. One of their best argument, they said, is he said actually two people said that if you're going to make an app where I can schedule an appointment and they can see if the garage 10 minutes 20 minutes drive has no appointments, in the old settings he
would just sit here and wait.
Would just sit here and wait. Now he knows he can drive 20 minutes to that open space and he can get in 2 seconds. That is bad business for me.
Well, they solved it a different way. Do you remember how they solved it?
No.
They just offer a service that someone can come to you, take your car, test it, bring it back to you. You just need to pay extra. That's it. That's how they solve it. That probably, and you paid so much extra for that.
Yeah.
So if you, kind of, when the gaming company office was, it was like close to like a small industrial area where they have like lots of car garages and stuff. So the whole company, we just fixed our cars in one place. It's kind of like 60 people. So like we all knew them, so they all knew us. So it's like it's kind of all the time. So it's just kind of we bring the car there, and it just calls you. Just you guys going for lunch. Just the car is ready. But lots of other people just kind of walking. CBD, there's no option. Just someone comes, grab the keys. Then you had fucking taxis come in, delivery, just getting the key and sending the delivery key, just go. The car is fixed. It's like, I left the car near your place. Just send someone, get the keys, and then, I will come.
It's very hard to sell efficiency.
Well, if nobody, if it's kind of, because, you show them, you will make it good for the people, for the customers, not necessarily
and they
for
don't
them.
care about, fuck the customers.
They don't care that you need to wait. And also, you have a date until when you have to fix, it's kind of, you're not there because of them. You're there because if you're not going to be there, you can't drive the car.
Right, exactly.
So it's, compliance, who gives a shit, right? The businesses that it's kind of, that you as a customer don't have a choice, they are the best from a business point of view.
Right.
All this cybersecurity, right? That, we just had a good example. It's, that tax you pay, it's kind of when, the moment you want to put,
how can Ben
you want to use SSO, right? Kind of, you want to use Octo and anything. Put aside what you're going to pay for Octo, Google SSO, all those services that just tell you, if you want to use our service using, Okta or, you need to jump to the next pricing, level. So you need to jump from Pro to Premium, and you're going to get all those security because they know, right? You don't have a choice, right? Because you're going to go to ISO and you need to show that everyone using SSO, and you have the monitoring, which is great by itself. I'm not saying it's not good, but some of them jacking the price by 200%.
Ben calls the whole cyber, calls it a complete scam because he says, you're paying people to give you a signature saying that you're good from that perspective, even though you're not. So when things break down, you're saying they gave me the signature, they're off the hook, and you just got hacked. A billion customers just are now on the dark web, and nobody's responsible because of that.
Yeah, of course, and you have insurance, and
exactly.
And your insurance is cheaper if you just have any certifications. It's a big, and try to renew ISO if you're not, if you don't use one of those big companies, to monitor your system. They're all working together. I'm not saying, there's good things there, but most of the companies being hacked because someone left their password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And I think you can. Most of the time, it's not someone hacked your AWS account and stole your database.
Right.
It's you can be secure.
Human in the loop.
Yeah. So, mate, it's I love, the compliance businesses. Not
have those discussion.
Not sexy businesses.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. It's, it's, you saw the exit from Wiz?
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Fucking great. I remember when Waze was sold, was holy shit.
Oh my God, $1 million.
Remember?
It was 1 million? $1 billion.
It was 1.2 billion something,
1.2.
No, it's fucking 30.
And a lot of people told them, you sold cheap back in the days.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think this is his second exit. He's one of the most kind of, smartest people in Israel tech. Probably, I don't know. I never met him in person, but I think people can say whatever they want.
Yeah.
I think he made some good choices there.
Yeah, I agree.
He made some employees very happy. And I wonder what Google will do with this product now. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I think gonna wrap up. Gonna go and spend some time with my kids.
Cool.
And,
Thank you, Viko.
Yeah. Chat next week.
Will do.
See you, mate.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.